The readings for Saturday, April 22nd. The epistle reading is from the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 3, verses 11 through 16. Now as the lame man who was healed held on to Peter and John, all the people ran together to them in the porch, which is called Solomon's, greatly amazed. So when Peter saw it, he responded to the people, "Men of Israel, why do you marvel at this? Or why look so intently at us, as though by our own power or godliness we had made this man walk? The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of our fathers, glorified his servant Jesus, whom you delivered up and denied in the presence of Pilate, when he was determined to let him go. But you denied the Holy One and the just, and asked for a murderer to be granted to you, and killed the Prince of Life, whom God raised from the dead, of which we are witnesses. And his name, through faith in his name, has made this man strong, whom you see and know. Yes, the faith which comes through him has given him this perfect soundness in the presence of you all." All right, some footnotes from the Orthodox Study Bible. So for verse 11, Solomon's porch is in the temple area. Yeah, you can look this up. I implore you guys to just Google images like, Second Temple of Solomon or whatever, and you'll see diagrams laid out. There's the inner, the Holy of Holies, that kind of thing. And yeah, it's like really a porch. Yeah, it's like a literal porch. It's kind of like an outer common area, I guess, if you will. For verses 12 through 26, so little bit past what we read here just now. Feel free to read on the remainder of that in your own Bibles if you wish. But for verses 12 through 26, it says, Peter's sermon clarifies several key truths concerning Jesus. Number one, he reveals the identity of Jesus, by whose power the lame man was healed. He is God's suffering servant, as noted in verse 13, the Holy One, as noted in verse 14, of God, the Prince of Life, as noted in verse 15, the Christ foretold by the prophets, as noted in verse 18. Number two, as prophesied, Christ was rejected, for the leaders had him killed, as noted in verse 15. But God raised him, and the apostles are witnesses to that resurrection, as noted in verse 15. Number three, the rejection of Christ shows profound ignorance of God's saving activity, as noted in verses 18 through 20. Number four, the only saving response the people can make is to repent and be converted, as noted in verse 19, which is a thorough change of mind and heart. And number five, the rewards of conversion include forgiveness of sins, renewal, and confidence in the glorious second coming of Christ, as noted in verses 19 through 26. The Gospel reading is from the book of John, chapter 3, verses 22 through 33. After these things, Jesus and his disciples came into the land of Judea, and there he remained with them and baptized. Now John was baptizing in Aenon near Salim, because there was much water there, and they came and were baptized, for John had not yet been thrown into prison. Then there arose a dispute between some of John's disciples and the Jews about purification. And they came to John and said to him, "Rabbi, he who was with you beyond the Jordan, to whom you have testified, behold, he is baptizing, and all are coming to him." John answered and said, A man can receive nothing unless it has been given to him from heaven. You yourselves bear me witness that I said, I am not the Christ, but I have been sent before him. He who has the bride is the bridegroom, but the friend of the bridegroom, who stands and hears him, rejoices greatly because of the bridegroom's voice. Therefore, this joy of mine is fulfilled. He must increase, but I must decrease. He who comes from above is above all. He who is of the earth is earthly and speaks of the earth. He who comes from heaven is above all. And what he has seen and heard, that he testifies, and no one receives his testimony. He who has received his testimony has certified that God is true. All right, some footnotes from the Orthodox Study Bible. So for verse 22, for the phrase baptized, it says to see chapter 4, verse 2. For verse 26, for the phrase he is baptizing, it says once again to see chapter 4, verse 2. For verse 29, John the Baptist is called the friend, or best man, while Christ himself is the bridegroom. The bride is the church, the people of God. John confesses his role in the coming of the Messiah, that he is witness to the wedding of Christ and his people, and thus he rejoices in that celebration. And for verse 30, John expresses a humility that serves as an example for all believers. He renounces all earthly glory and reputation for the sake of Christ. But allowing Christ to increase in him, John himself finds true glory. This statement further indicates the end of the old covenant. As the law vanishes, the grace of Jesus Christ abounds. John's declaration is revealed in the liturgical calendar, wherein his birth is celebrated at a time when the sun begins to decrease in the sky, which would be June 24th, while Christ's birth is celebrated when the sun begins to increase, which would be December 25th. Pretty cool. Some pretty cool cosmic parallels there. But which is funny because a lot of people would point to something like that to show that Christ isn't real. Like this whole story, this is all just myth. You know, and it's like, to me, it's an odd, like, roundabout conclusion to come to. You know, I would see it as the other way around. Like, these were real people. It just so happens to have all that much synchronicity to it, mirrored in, you know, the cosmos and everywhere else, because he is the Son of God. Like, that's why I don't view it as, like, denouncing the story, though, as it's quite the contrary for me, but that's just me. And yeah, that is it for the readings. So, no, it's pretty late, guys. I'm trying to get back into a study habit, but at least I'm uploading as the day of, so cut me some slack there. But I'm going to get on recording tomorrow's right away so we can get that uploaded nice and early before you all find yourselves in liturgy tomorrow for Thomas Sunday, Thomas the Doubter. And yeah, so in the meantime, just please pray for me, a sinner, and I hope you keep following along. Thank you.